Okay, so I'm not going to lie to you guys. I totally screwed up my first video, so that's why there's writing on this thing already. So in this unit, we're going to be learning about how to graph sine and cosine. And I know you guys have just been dying to hear those words. You've just been wanting to graph so badly. Not really, I'm sure you haven't, but it's really not that bad. We're going to start nice and slow. We're going to start with the parent functions of sine and cosine. So parent functions just mean the most basic form of a type of graph. And so far we've been talking about sine and cosine equaling something over something, equaling a ratio of a side length to another side length. But now we're just going to talk about what do we get when we insert an angle measure. Okay, when we put in an angle measure, what do we get out of it? So here, we're not going to be talking so much about sides of a triangle or x over y or anything like that. We're just going to be looking at what's our output, and we're going to graph it like a coordinate. Our input value is our theta, and our output value, like z, okay, is just some number that comes out of it. And then we're going to graph those values. Same thing with cosine. We're going to have an input value of for theta, whatever it could be, like pi over 2, pi, okay, a radian measure, and then whatever we get out of it, well, that's our y coordinate, which we will call z, so we don't get confused, and then we'll just graph those. All right, so let's go ahead, and the first thing that we're going to talk about are two important words, amplitude and period. We've already kind of mentioned period before, and you can probably guess what amplitude is, but let's go ahead and define them in here. So you can see mine got cut off, but this was supposed to say amplitude. And amplitude is the height of a curve from the center. Okay, and you'll see what I mean here in a moment, but if you just want a visual right away, so this is a trig function. The height of the curve from the center is going to be this right here. That's the height. So that would be the amplitude. And then if you wanted to look at it in the form of an equation, say you had y equals sine of x, amplitude is always the number in front of sine, okay, or your trig function. So here we have y equals sine of x, the number in front is 1, so the amplitude is 1. So the wave only goes one high and one below the center. All right, period. We already know this one. Period is the distance before it repeats. So here we're just going to write period of sine is, and hopefully you guys already know this, 2 pi. We're going to be working all in radians while we're graphing. So the period of sine is 2 pi, and the rest are repetitions of the same. Remember when we talked about the periodic properties and how we can just basically chop off 2 pi? Because it really doesn't matter, it just repeats itself over and over. We're going to see that in our graphs. So now that we've defined a couple words, let's go ahead and move on to actually graphing. And I'm going to do that in the next video.